Guy Pearce, Russell Crowe and Jason Donovan all strolled their way down Ramsay Street and onto the international stage, but would it ever have happened if not for the Ramsay Street bedrock? Harold Bishop was the core, the essence, the spleen, if you will, upon which the throbbing metropolis of Erinsborough gyrated.
Oh, but after 20 years of playing bumbling Harold, actor Ian Smith has called it a day and he joins us this morning to vent said spleen. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning. I've got to say that the bumbling came first. I just had to find a way of using it. So I became Harold.
Look, well, it raises the question. You've been a producer, you were also a script writer. Mm-hmm. Having those two skills, does that mean that you can control your storylines to any extent?
No, but I tell you what, I've been lucky with this show because they really have given me lots of leeway. I say, would you mind if I did this with the already established storyline? And they very kindly said yes. So, I mean, all this accolade that I'm getting is really not fair because very few actors get the freedom that I've had to play with Harold.
What a great privilege to be able to do that.
Precisely, yes. Yeah. I think that's when you get old and near to death.
Well, I was going to say, well, we're getting close to that, but we're not. But look, before we go on, let's just have a look. I mean, you were talking about storylines, and gosh, you've had some crackers along the way, but this is after you were lost at sea and came back with amnesia?
All right.
Harold Bishop, I don't believe it!
I am not Harold, I am Ted! Is everyone in the street stark, raving mad?
Harold, wait! Mate, we have just seen a ghost.
As he dashes off down the street in the high-powered laser.
I've always been good-looking, haven't I? You laugh.
When was the seed sown for you that perhaps now it's time to quit?
I always said that I would leave the minute that it stopped being fun. And for a couple of weeks, it ceased being fun. And I thought, is this it? Is this the time? And then I thought, well, buddy, next year you're going to be 70. When are you going to start getting out and getting away from the studio? Life isn't about work. Yeah. And I said no, because Gail, my wife, and I have often said all we want to do is get out on the open road and get lost. And that's what we're going to do. I mean, we are going to get lost. We're going to get to the end of our street, toss a coin, left or right? Right. I nearly did a George Bush then, left.
Well, I wouldn't have picked it up.
and that's as far as we're going to plan. Right. And we're going to get on that road, and when we stop, we stop.
Well, you talk about it ceased being fun for a couple of weeks. How? Why?
It became a job of work learning the lines. I mean, I have trouble remembering the name these days, but it became hard. I found it hard justifying what I was doing. And whereas once upon a time I had no trouble at all. In fact, it was fun working out. And and it really wasn't fun. And I always determined that I would only ever make the show when I could do it the best I could.
I mean, I've read in the past that there were some issues to do with, I guess, your stardom and the cult following that this show has. You know, issues where, you know, you'd feel a bit stalked in your own home, where people would drive past and create a fuss.
Oh, it happened once. It happened once. We had these hoons who would, I mean, they weren't too bright because they did something like 3 times in a row, and after the second time I got the cops, and the cops were waiting for them. The third time they weren't too bright.
Yeah. But that does shake you a bit, doesn't it?
It can do, but look, if ever I had my chance all over again, I don't think I'd do television. I think I'd do stage. And
really?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
That's such an interesting thing to say after such success, such longevity.
Yes. Look, when you start off, you enjoy the recognition. I mean, you guys must have the same thing. You enjoy the recognition, and then after X amount of years, you may not have reached that yet. You just crave anonymity.
Storylines. How do you make them work?
You just believe in them.
You're not laughing all the way through.
No, you just believe in them.
Yeah.
And if you find that you can't do it legitimately, you can't do it with reality, you call upon old Stanislavski and you whack in some as-ifs. You approach this scene as if, or you open that cupboard door and you're supposed to be surprised. You open it expecting to see somebody jump out and say happy birthday, and whereas you open it and you imagine there's a dead body there with a dagger holding it to the
you do
work tricks. It doesn't matter what works as long as it works.
Exactly.
So you've worked with some wonderful people, and,
yes.
and we were talking about some of them yesterday in the office, and you know, really some big stars that you've worked with at the very early stages of their careers.
Yes, true. Some of them I have hazy memories of because they really were not in the show that long.
Yeah.
Russell Crowe was one of them.
Yeah.
And Guy Pearce, I'm just so proud of that young bloke. Why have I got any right to be proud of Guy Pearce? I had nothing to do with him, but I always knew him to be a hard-working actor. I never suspected that he would end up doing the sort of work that he's doing, and I just sit there with my mouth open saying, my God, boy, how the hell do you do that?
Yes.
That was just brilliant.
We had Bruce Beresford on the show yesterday, and Bruce Beresford was talking about Guy Pearce, and he said I'd cast him in anything.
Yeah, in any
would.
role.
You would.
But it's interesting, isn't it? You would have seen, you've been there for 20 years, core cast member, and you would have seen so many of these young ones come through, and such a fuss is made of the young ones.
Yes.
How did you cope with that?
Oh, that's right, because, see, a publicity department can be a very cruel animal. They pick the kids up. They put them in a show, and they're put in the show because of the way they look. They find out if they can act later. We've been lucky in our show because the kids have been really good. They've been good kids. They listen, they watch, they come up and ask questions. Because we say to them as soon as they come in, ask questions. Rather, there's no such thing as a silly question, and if you think there is a silly question, rather make a fool of yourself in front of me asking the question than making it in front of a camera. And they do. They come up and ask questions. So they've been sensible kids. There have been one or two exceptions that have been there to be stars, but a lot of them end up just wanting to be actors.
Yeah, I think it's great.
What's going to happen when you're 85 years old and the agent rings and they said, and he says, Neighbours have been calling, name your price, name your terms?
I'll have to wait and find out about it. The home mightn't let me out. You see, I don't know.
You'd buy a nice Winnebago.
Yes. I'll get there on me Zimmer frame and...
But would you be tempted, do you think?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Not at the moment. My thinking isn't that way at the moment.
Yeah.
The only thing that would tempt me at the moment is a small stage play. You know, and I do mean small.
Yeah.
I've done a couple since I've retired, and it's been super.
All right.
I've just enjoyed it so much.
All right, you stay sitting there
All
because we're going to be joined by a few more Neighbours shortly. But in the meantime, it's time to kick off some having a chat about undies here. Right, tonight's the night we officially farewell Harold from Neighbours, and his castmates and friends are gently wiping their eyes too.
To look back at 20 years of life with Harold Bishop, we welcome Harold's castmates and Ian Smith's friends, Jackie Woodburne, Tom Oliver and Benji Hart. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Benji, maybe since you're up there, we could start with you. You're from the UK. You ended up in the show. Can you tell us how popular Harold Bishop is in the UK?
Well, words don't really describe. I mean, Neighbours is massive in the UK, and to come over here and do Neighbours, it was really surreal. And to meet Ian, Harold is a complete hero in the UK. And just, it was fantastic, really, really fantastic. And he's just huge in the UK. He's absolutely huge.
I remember the first week you started, Benji, you said to me that your mum loved Harold, and I said what good taste she had. Yes.
She did. Well, when I started Neighbours, there were two things for me. It was like a pilgrimage to Pin Oak, which is otherwise known as Ramsey Street, the street, and to meet Harold. And I was lucky because one of my first scenes was with Ian, and it was just the best way to start. It was welcoming and professional and funny and just fantastic.
Well, all positives from you, but as I understand it, Tom, your on-screen relationship has been...
I'm awfully sorry. Can I start by apologising for anything that Tom might say? He wanders a little bit.
Oh, does he?
Now remember what I said, Tom. Tom,
Hello.
Just look at the people.
I'm waiting for Ian Smith to show up.
Okay, I'll let you know when he's here.
He's gone.
Yes, and lead us to say something of a love-hate
I'm
relationship.
sorry, pay no attention.
How was the working relationship? Because you sort of went through so much together, really.
Yes.
Well, the background to it is that Harold, Lou and Madge all grew up together in Queensland, went to school together in Queensland. And when I first came into the show, which was 20 years ago last October, it was to stop Harold marrying Madge, but he won the day. She threw a bucket of water over us both, and I went back to Queensland.
So do you ever actually
Don't ask
genuinely...
me why she threw a bucket of water over us both.
Why did you? Why?
Come on.
I refuse to answer that question.
Really? Come on, that's what I want to know now. I don't want to go any further.
we were arguing over her, and she was up on the balcony, and she just said, "Shut up, you two."
Look, we were hearing from Ian before. Ian was saying that he's had, some leeway in scripts to kind of, push a direction if he thought something was funny. If he's giving you the errors, did you have the same opportunity to kind of, say, look, I'd like to just murder him this week?
Not in that sense, no, but we do have that leeway to put ideas and, in fact, put storylines in which the scriptwriters can run with. But the beauty of working with Ian, and I'll say this on camera, it was, if I was in a grumpy mood, if I'd got out of bed the wrong side and I was driving into work, if I knew I was going to enter into that Lou Harold relationship at work, I was going to have a fun day. Yeah. It was just, and I'd like to thank you for that, buddy. It was a tremendous 20 years working with you, and part of what my nearly 50-year-old career was. That's been a major part of it, and thank you for that.
Thank you, Tom. I'd like to say the same,
We
but
were
I'm
two
not going to
grumpy
lie
old
for
men,
anyone.
the odd couple. And I said it first, shut up. All right.
Jackie, your character also suffered amnesia as well.
It's very common in Erinsborough, yes. Epidemic proportions.
On top of that toxic dump. Yes.
It's around Love Canal, yeah.
I'm just wondering, did you ever have to do... Did you ever have to do amnesia scenes together?
We've forgotten.
I knew you were going to say that.
How I've forgotten the question now.
Catching, isn't it?
Did you ever have to do scenes together?
Look, I think there's been several stories that our characters have, sort of comforted each other, and I think Harold has, on a few occasions, given comfort to Susan for their shared experiences, whether it be amnesia or tumours pressing or whatever the thing was on the day, It's we have overlapped a few times, I think.
There's clearly time to have fun with it, though, isn't there?
Of course.
I mean,
There is,
backstage
of course
and
there is,
so
yes.
Yes,
yes.
especially when your house is under threat of flood and you live on top of a hill. I mean,
The water was rising from the marshes.
Do you bother to explain those inconsistencies in the script, or
Yes.
do you
Yes
just
and no, because just before Ian went off to the sunset with Valda, the plot line came up where we were going to sell the store, the Bishop Carpenter General Store. And when we got the script, we couldn't believe it. He had never co-owned it. I'd owned it outright, apparently. So I sold it. Oh, no, he's only an employee. Yeah. But that was news to us, too.
Yeah.
Yes. Look, I mean, I'm laughing, you guys sitting there like crows on a fence, laughing away. Benji, what is it like to come into a show where, there are these really well-established characters? I mean, is it pressure or is it a family sense?
It is pressure of it. Obviously, it's a legend, the show, so you're feeling nervous when you first start. But to be honest with you, it's such a family atmosphere there. There's such wonderful people, and working with Ian and Tom and Jackie specifically, they really mother and look after the newer characters and the younger characters. And to be honest, once you've got into the swing of it, they just become your mates and you have a laugh. It's
Who's
fantastic.
the biggest mother?
Ian. No, you know what? I've got to really say thank you to Ian, because he really did help me out on many of occasions and just got me into the swing of it, because it's a tough schedule, and and everyone has a laugh, and I think that's the most important thing.
All right,
it was really good experience. Thank you, Ian.
All right, look, thank you, Benji. Interrupt the interview for a moment to cross to the newsroom.
Just in, 10 News has received confirmation that Harold Bishop, resident of Ramsay Street, member of the Salvation Army and tuba player, will be leaving Neighbours indefinitely.
I can't believe it.
20 years.
I know, it's such a long time.
20 years? Chappelle Corby got less.
Harold, we're going to miss you. Ramsay Street just won't be the same.
Guess what? I'm amazed.
I'm amazed that you're actually leaving Ramsey Street. The neighborhood is just not going to be the same without you.
That's devastating. No way. He's an icon.
Harold, good luck in the future. From me, Tom Jones, we're going to miss you.
Hi, Harold. Rick Astley here. I was never going to give you up, but you're off anyway. Best of luck.
Don't go. We'll miss you too much.
See ya.
And from me, Harold, good luck. We'll miss you.
Oh, big kisses.
lovely?
How about that? The man himself.
Wow. You see, this is where it's all messed up. You see, I've always considered, I've never got out of the feeling that I'm a jobbing actor, waiting for the next job, and I don't think any of us have. No. This one here keeps saying, oh, no, you're big, you're huge. You do, don't you?
Well, you are big and huge. I mean, look at
Shut up.
sitting there.
We won't let the taxi take you back to your home.
I'm sorry.
Stop it. Okay. And now all this is happening, you know. That's amazing.
It's marvellous and it's well deserved. Look, tonight is the last episode. What will you be doing for the last episode?
I shall be sitting at home with my darling wife, Gail, who we celebrated 40 years of marriage on Saturday last. And
Well, not the three of us. I was a guest, but yes.
No. And we shall be sitting at home. This lady gave us a lovely bottle of Dom Perignon, and we shall be sitting at home drinking that.
Good on you.
Just marvellous. And look, we've got one more surprise for you. We've got a little birthday cake. Well, not a birthday cake, a
farewell cake.
A farewell cake.
We'll miss you.
Congratulations.
I'd just like to say one more thing, if I may, Jackie. The petition worked, love. He's off. He's off.
And now he'll be able to use all of my material.
Thanks again to all of you.
Thank you so much. And to you, Benji, and to Tom, and to Jackie.
Take care.
Thank you,
Benji.
so much.
And let's not forget the push for the gold logie. Good luck with it. All right, coming up, your chance to win a...